Kazuya that she lied about having boyfriend. She receives a message from her brother and realizes he is home with his friends. So she tells Kazuya that they can't go there. Kazuya sees this as opportunity as she noted him and decides to invite her at his place. Mami gets surprised and Kazuya panics, starting to explain it's nothing creepy and that she is just too sexy. Mami then starts putting his head and Kazuya patting his head. Then Kazuya starts to feel like trash for jumping on the conclusions and not standing for Chizuru. Mami starts badmouthing Chizuru, thinking she has some loose screw as she was quiet all night and then had such an outburst. Kazuya states that Chizuru isn't like that, and while he still likes Mami, he can't let her badmouth her. Kazuya goes to Chizuru's apartment, wanting to apologize, but then sees her coming home. He apologizes for how pathetic he is, but she states it is fine as she is, just a rental girlfriend. Chizuru is still fine with them continuing like this, and that makes Kazuya happy. Kazuya's group decides to go to the beach, and Kazuya is surprised that Mami wanted to come too. She isn't mad at him. They in, they tell him to invite Chizuru too, but he explains it was too sudden, so he couldn't get her to come secretly. Mami is angry that Kazuya is dating someone in less than a month after they broke up and decides to make Chizuru and Kazuya break up. She goes and apologizes to Kazuya for her behavior the other day and comments how many good memories they had for the month they were together. They even decided that their kids will be called Maya, but now Maya will never be born. Kazuya decides to tell her the truth about Chizuru, but then sees other people from their college and that Chizuru and her friends also decided to post exam break at the beach as she is in her Ichinose personality. No one realizes she is Chizuru Mizuhara. As the other group leaves, Kazuya decides to not reveal it, as he will be laughing stock for his friends. He ends up being the one that needs to go buy things from the store. As he goes, he visits the bathroom to clear his mind. To his surprise, Chizuru attempts to enter and seeing her, he drags her as she confirms that they are just client and rental girlfriend. He explains he may have a chance to get back with Mami and didn't want Chizuru to offend. That annoys Chizuru, who starts yelling at him, telling him he is just a client. But then they heard Mami outside wondering if that's Kazuya. He goes out trying to say that he is alone, but Mami realizes he lies as she attempts to open. Chizuru comes out pretending to Mizuhara. Kazuya's friends also come. Seeing Chizuru, Kazuya explains that she is from his region and got some free time and decided to visit him at the beach. Mami apologizes to Chizuru for the other day, but secretly she gets even more frustrated with her being here. The group returns at the beach in Kazuya and Kazuya goes into the sea while Chizuru stays on the beach. Mami calls Kazuya behind some rocks, explaining that she lost her children, asking him to help her search it. However, he ends up missing it. Kazuya recalls how he met Mami and confessed to her the time they spent until their first kiss at the present. After kissing Kazuya, Mami apologizes, stating she couldn't control herself. She tells him to act normal in front of others, and they return to the group. However, Kazuya can't stop thinking about it. Nagami calls him to inform him that she is getting discharged and will be able to see Chizuru anytime she wants. The group starts asking about purchase a row lives unable to tell. Kazuya reveals that they talked about breaking up. Yoshiaki gets angry and punches Kazuya, guessing Chizuru dumped him for his behavior towards Mami, and they get into a fight. Thereafter, Chizuru and Kazuya, even Chizuru, tells him that was manly and that they don't know the truth. Thus, they acted like Kazuya. Kazuya informs her that his grandma is being discharged next week, so he will stop hiring her. Chizuru heads back to the store to take her clothes, but as she sees her friends outside, she can't go in and change. Yoshiaki then shows up and wishes to speak with her, because she sees them and thinks that Yoshiaki may try to confess to her or something, and hides to eavesdrops on them. Yoshiaki tells Chizuru that he knows Kazuya since they were in the kindergarten. He agrees that he is an idiot, but tells her a story of how optimistic he is and how he didn't give up on a flower at school. In the end, Yoshiaki gives Chizuru ferry tickets and asks Chizuru to give Kazuya another chance, and they go back with the ferry and talk about it. A dog then reveals Kazuya and they realize he was listening. Yoshiaki then believes in Chizuru, states that she can't decline after hearing Yoshiaki, so she agrees. They return with the ferry and then tells them that they talked and decided to break up on the ferry. Chizuru starts to not feel well, but as they speak, Kazuya decides to later ask Mami out. He tells Chizuru that he won't be renting her and promises to not to talk her at the college. Mami then calls him on the phone and he goes outside to talk. She wants to meet with Kazuya. They talk and tells him that she is waiting for him in the hotel pool. Kazuya agrees to meet her, but explain he will need at least 15 minutes to come. Meanwhile, Chizuru is feeling quite unwell, and she goes to outside. As the ferry shakes, she ends up falling overboard in the water. Kazuya hears a girl with Chizuru description fell in water, and he dropped his phone and immediately jumps in the water. Kazuya manages to reach Chizuru underwater. She later wakes up on the beach and remembers that she fell. As she returns, she sees unconscious Kazuya. Remembering that he came for her, Chizuru starts giving CPR, and in the end, gives him mouth to mouth. Kazuya finally awakens. The Coast Guard finds them and gives them a scolding. His friends who heard of the incidents also give him a scolding, and he ends up spending the night at the local hospital and misses his meeting with Mami. After being discharged, Kazuya goes home and decides to masturbate on Mami's picture, but he can't stop thinking of Chizuru. That makes him realize he had already fallen for her. Nagami decides to go to a hot spring resort to celebrate her discharge and takes Kazuya with her at the resort. She reveals that Siri, Chizuru grandma, is with her and forces Kazuya to go in a different room as she wants to share a room with Siri. Kazuya, uh, Kazuya heads into his room only to find Chizuru being there. She is surprised Kazuya is here, but quickly realizes this was planned. Their grandmas met Chizuru, then leads Kazuya to their grandmas, but Nagami and Siri refuse to change rooms, stating they ordered the food already and it would be too much trouble to change now. As Chizuru states, they still haven't done it with Kazuya. Nagami and Siri are a bit surprised, but tell them they have chance to do it now. Back at their room, Chizuru decides to enjoy the stay and heads to the bath where she meets Nagami. Nagami decides to help her wash and explains that her husband died on this date, but being here with Jisoo becomes a special date for her. Chizuru wonders what Nagami will think if she learns she isn't what she imagined. However, Nagami explains that everyone lies a bit, and she won't stop loving her even if she's an alien returning to her room. Chizuru continues to enjoy her time there. They drink and eat with Kazuya before going to sleep. Cause we are getting ready to sleep in the room, but Chizuru tells him okay to stay.